Ladies and gentlemen, it is July 26, 2026, and we are here to talk about the world, current events, foreign policy, economics, you name it, we'll talk about it in another episode of World Discussion with Agent Smith,
Okay.
and Bitter Sugar.
Hello.
Welcome, gentlemen.
Hello.
So to intro a little bit, we
Nice
have
to hear you again.
we have a special Ukraine update from our good friend Bitter Sugar, who we met with at the very start of the conflict in Ukraine. And you have some recent updates to share with us, just kind of letting us know what the journey's been like, and had a stroke of extremely bad luck, but you're still fully intact. How are you feeling?
Yes. Thankfully. Well, in terms of my physical health, I cannot complain. Everything is okay. My family is intact, but emotionally and in terms of like spiritual mood, I guess that would be the right way to say it. Yeah, it's kind of tough. Well, it's been already at least 3 weeks since I have had this experience, which I'd like to share with you guys. We
I have four
recovered.
videos that you sent me. We can show those whenever you feel it's appropriate. I didn't watch them yet. But the short version of what I've seen so far was your apartment. It's like in a larger building. It was directly hit by a missile, and it's completely destroyed.
Yes.
Like everything is fucked. But you weren't there, so you're fine. Your wife was not there, so she's fine. And your car was at the shop, so your car is fine. So you got a mixture of extremely bad luck and a little bit of good luck.
Yeah, the main interesting thing that my car was in the shop because of the first hit, which destroyed my windows and fucked up my car, which was parked in front of the building. So my car was in shop just because it was attacked as well. Now it has been repaired. They returned it to me. They even fixed all the visual stuff because it wasn't possible to get it moving because the wheels were fucked up. I sent you some pictures previously. Well, if you want, you can show them. I think I'll open stream to get a clue of what's on the screen now.
Sure. Let's see. Yeah, you did send a video of the car. Can get that. Tires are totally flat.
Yeah. Well, it's not a big thing that the number plate is being seen because it's not my car. It's the company car. I use it.
So all these little holes are just from shards of stuff that flew at it, I'm guessing?
Yes. The shards they deliberately put there to deal with as much damage as possible.
What brand of car is that? Shrapnel.
Citroen.
I see.
French car, very cheap, but still I really love it. It was painful to see it being hit, but comparing with the damage that was done to me and to my property in 2 weeks after that was no comparison. Well, I mentioned that I now can rewatch those videos with worms because on these videos I can see my apartment in previous state. If you want, you can show right
Так,
above
тут ви
of the
можете
message
бачити
of the car video, some pictures.
I have the video here of you kind of scanning your living room so we can see what your apartment now looks
Yeah,
like.
you
Так,
can
тут ви
you
можете
can show it.
бачити
I speak in Ukrainian or
зал.
in
Це
Russian on it,
телевізор.
but you can
Це
like
залишки від мого комп'ютерного,
show it without the sound.
за яким я сидів отут.
Yeah, that's the next one. That is the 2 weeks after.
Yeah. Completely totaled. Was there any stuff that you were able to salvage that wasn't destroyed, or was everything destroyed?
No, it was impossible. I just wanted you to show this, and then we can proceed to the main events of last videos.
Mm-hmm. I have the photo here
photos.
of your apartment unit. I can show that because it's like on fire. The firefighter's trying to put this fire out. But yeah, the unit that he's living in here, it's just like fire emanating from it, and all the windows are blown out and ash and whatnot. Lots of debris on the ground here.
Yes, that's official photos of like emergency service of Kiev. You can see the stamp in the right left in the top left corner. Yeah, so that is not mine. When this happened, I wasn't allowed to go there. Well, it was 5 a.m., I guess, when we left the shelter, and like we were coming closer to our house, and smoke was seen from a distance. And the first thing that my wife said to me that, like, look, our house is burning. I'm like, no, that's fine. That's like further. That there's another house. And when we came closer and closer, it started to get to me that actually the exact like our house and our section of it, because in these old Soviet houses there are 4 hallways, as you can see on the screen. You can see the hall number 3 on the left and the hall number 4 on the right. So hall number 4 on the right, that is mine, and holes number 1 and 2 that are more to the left side. You cannot see them on this picture. They are not on fire, and people were still there, and they were able to come back to collect their stuff. Yeah, so actually this first hallway of the house was the most unlucky to get hit. Well, and you have already seen the fire, so we can proceed with the 4 videos I've sent to you tomorrow.
Sure.
Or I sent.
Yep, I have those set
I
up.
sent
Here's
to
the
you
first
now,
one.
so, yeah.
Do you want sound on for these?
Yes.
Okay. Starting with the first one.
I have gathered some courage to visit my former home again, just to show you the current state of it. This is where I used to live. This is my hallway, and this is on the 4th floor where my apartment was. This was an AC unit previously. There is my kitchen window, and there is the balcony of my room, of living room, where I used to sit in. Hello guys.
That's one. Got
Okay,
two.
so join me on this heavy and not so emotional. It was emotional the first time, but still join me on this journey of visiting my apartment. There is the hallway, there is the apartments of my neighbors. You can see that this all is burned. And now I'm heading to my floor. You can see the scenery behind the windows.
Nice, you have lots of green where you live.
For the brightness to adjust.
What time of day did the strikes occur?
Here we come.
They occur at night, like 80% of the
This is
time.
the apartments of my neighbors. And this is
So
my
that was like
apartment.
5 a.m. when I was able
I
to see
used
it,
to-
and the firefighters were extinguishing the fire from like
You should be careful
for 3 hours this
because
time.
electric wires, they're not connected, but still they are in a way. Here, as you can see, this was my bathroom. Let me turn on the flashlight. That is the remains of my sink and bathtub. I guess it was made of something organic, some polymer material, and it has been burned. Here is the toilet. You can see a boiler unit. It dropped, and underneath is the toilet itself. There was a wall. It has collapsed. Right here, and in between the living room and the kitchen, which you can see here, there was a hallway. So right where I'm standing, there should have been a hallway, and you can see the marks on that far wall. That was the like a borderline, or like the edge of kitchen and the beginning of the living room. I should be careful where I step, because as you can see, the floor has collapsed a little bit, and the ceiling is deformed as well because of the strike, so it looks like a belly now. The missile hit directly the apartment above, and the blast wave made this reinforced concrete plate, I guess that's the right name of it. It made it deform. I guess it will keep deteriorating, and with time it will collapse completely, unfortunately. The rear wall of the apartment is damaged as well. You can see my TV set, my former TV set, and that is my gaming chair. The remains of it.
Damn, the skeleton gaming chair.
Yeah, so here I used to sit. It was a living room. Right here where the wall is collapsed, there was a couch that was like located in front of the TV. And right there was my table with my computer and gaming chair. Let me come closer. I will show you the state of my PC. Here, as you can see, that is a kitchen. That was a kitchen. That was a fridge. What remains of it? Some cooking ware and a stove. And underneath, you'll be able to see some intact, like plates and cups, etc. Because of the power of the blast, you can see that this wall has been detached from the ceiling and from this wall, from the kitchen wall. So this in between room walls, they have been moved because of the blast. So yeah, and back to my PC. Here you can see the state of my computer. We can try to guess some of the parts. For example, this was the power thingy block right there. I guess that's the like graphic board remains, and motherboard has been burned completely. And actually I have, here was the SSD solid state drive right here. Yeah, and actually I have, oh, here as you can see, even I touch walls and they crumble in my hands.
Damn.
Because of the heat of the fire. So I shouldn't stay here for a long time, I guess. That was my balcony.
Damn. No, your tempo in these videos is good. It's better, I think, that you speak slower. For you, as someone who made the videos, it probably feels slower to watch yourself because you already know what happens. But for us, that was, I think it gave it really good time to look at each shot that you were talking about. But damn, no amount of compressed air is going to fix that PC. Sheesh. How much of the stuff do you get back? Like, is there any insurance that allows you to re-get some of your stuff?
Unfortunately, I get none because it should have been like there is no insurance that covers the war-related events, unfortunately.
I see.
And I should have gone around the house and taken videos and photos of my stuff, and maybe like in the future when I have filed a lot of I don't know the right name in English of it, like when you press criminal charges. I did it for my car because the car is it's a company car, and to prove that the damage that was dealt, that wasn't my fault, I had to call the police and log or like fixate the damage that was done to the car, and actually like that is done in the form of a criminal charge against the Russian Federation. So like the opposing side of this criminal charge is the whole fucking country. And maybe in future, after the war ends, and we have gathered all of these like logs and documents, and they will pay some kind of reparations, maybe I will be repaid some money, but that is like very unlikely. So basically, when you lose your stuff, you just lose it and just deal with it. That's what happens.
Damn, I see. Yeah, it makes sense that it's a crime, though, because someone is blowing up your shit that you paid for, which is illegal in any context, so war included. But yeah, that's rough. Thank you for sharing that. I have two more here.
Well,
And here, guys, you can
yes,
see the
they
state
are
of my
a little bit stretched
HDD.
as well, but
It contained all of my information,
if we already invest
all
in
the
time in it.
games I had, etc. So yeah, something tells me that the temperature here was so hot that the material that it was made of just melted, unfortunately. So of course it is impossible to recover some information from here.
Damn.
Right where it belongs, inside of my computer.
Well, the closest visual that I have of something like this was whenever I was driving my dad's Jeep off-road and let some of my friends from high school drive it. And my friends drove it over a mesquite tree, which is kind of between a bush and a tree. The thing caught on fire. The Jeep exploded. So it's that same kind of warped metal, and it burns everything that's like a softer material. but this is obviously a lot more extensive since it's your entire home. And this is the fourth video.
Just to show you the state of my bedroom. Again, I have to walk really carefully because the floor can collapse under my feet. And yeah, I'm coming into my bedroom. Here I used to sleep. Right here, that was my bed. Here is the remains of my mattress. And right here, the table of my wife used to stand. And as you can see, her computer is right here. We can even try to, well, it is in better state than mine, of course, because this room wasn't directly hit.
The computer's in a better state.
The initial hit. So here you can even distinguish different parts of the computer. Try to locate. Yeah, as you can see, I guess that was the memory. Which is so expensive now. Yeah, so you can see the walls, they were damaged as well. And right here I even have a little peek hole to my neighbors if I want to see what they're doing. Spoiler, there are no one.
Oh.
There are no people there. Yes, yeah, there is no one. That would be the great pronunciation of it. I'm sorry for my English, I'm sorry for my grammar. I'm really not in a good state to really understand what I am saying right now, so please just share my experience, that's it. And as you can see in the street, the life goes on, people minding their own business. The windows of the opposing building is blasted as well. They were blasted, but people tend to recover as fast as they can. So they just use these wooden, like pressed panels. They cut them really fast and use them to cover windows. And while it's still summer, it's not actually a big deal. You can just cover your windows. My windows were covered as well. You just cover your windows, and the only issue with it is rain and that you have no sunlight. What can I say? It's really a good time to be a window vendor. If you have a window making business in Ukraine right now, you are digging coins with a shovel. Thank you for seeing this. This experience is very emotional for me, as you could have guessed, and I'm thankful for your attention. And
nice. Thank you for making those. Very big of you. You were very easy to understand as well, so don't be hard on yourself for your English.
Thank you. I was pouring my soul into it because I wanted to show this. What else can I do besides of like trying to share this and to spread the knowledge of what's going on here. Hello?
Yes, and we do. Sorry, I was reading chat for a second. We do have Agent Smith here as well. I think he has some questions for you just about the situation in general. But thank you again for sharing the videos and sharing your perspective. For people who don't know, Bitter Sugar has been a friend of the stream for a very long time through both like StarCraft ZVT analysis to he taught me a lot of things in Dota. So hearing his story and just kind of feeling the kinship with the people of Ukraine, as they've been great StarCraft players and great Dota players and our peers in the tech and gaming world. So yeah, thank you very much for sharing your story and being courageous, going through such a crazy experience.
Thank you for seeing these guys, and thank you for your attention. It means a lot for me, and it warms my heart that someone far, far overseas actually cares about me. So yeah, thanks a lot. It helps, and it's very important that you pay attention. Actually, I wanted like to a little off topic about StarCraft Ukrainian players. It appeared that I know Bly through one handshake because I worked with the guy that was his former classmate.
Huh. Bly's cool.
Yes.
I like him. He's a aggressive Zerg player. So when the stuffy pro Zergs all say, "Oh, cheese is bad in this matchup," Bly, he cheeses anyway every time, and he's got a really good attitude and presence about him. I met him, I think, at a DreamHack event. He was also there, and he was very cool with me. So he's from Ukraine, White Raw as well. I follow him on Instagram. He's been posting some stuff about the conflict. He's a Protoss player.
I'd like to visit DreamHack as well someday.
They're very fun. Any info about costs? He got into a bit of trouble, kind of got semi-canceled, I don't know. He wasn't really as big in the pro scene after that. Yeah, where are you?
Players anyway.
True. Where are you staying currently? You're obviously not sleeping there anymore.
Yes. Well, actually, the first time I went there, it was like 2 days after the hit, and it felt so painful that actually I wanted to stay and try to stay for some time, maybe to like let this thought sink in to my head. Right now, I guess I don't know the exact scientist that invented this 5 steps of grief acceptance. I was for a very long time. I was in a stage of denial because I cannot believe that actually happened. It took me like 3 times of going there and seeing this over and over again just to like let this thought sink into my head that it's actually like it's real. After that, I was angry because like what are the fucking odds of it? Every other house in the area is intact. It's not fair. Why did it happen, etc., etc. And now, well, it was like 2 or 3 weeks, and now I guess I am past the. I forgot the name of the third
Bargaining
stage. Yes. Well, I have no one to bargain with. I'm trying to assess all the damage that was done to me, and now I'm trying to like look on the brighter side. What have I got instead of it? Well, then yes, depression is crippling on me, and this thing that we are doing right now it helps a lot fighting this as well. Well, I just, you do something on a daily basis. You have your routine, you work, you cook your meals, etc. And somewhere in the back of your head, this like tape loop is going over and over again, and again. You think about it. I think with time, it will become easier. I'm sure of it, but just have to manage, have to get by. Now we are staying in another apartment. Actually, in this regard, we were kind of lucky because it's really hard to find an apartment when you have 2 cats. because no like house owner or apartment owner wants to rent their house to people with animals, especially two animals. But we were lucky. We had some really far relatives who had someone known that, like, they had the apartment. We arranged a meeting. We came. We saw the apartment, and now it's like it is located on a different bank of the river. You know that Kiev, like the city, is divided by the river Dnipro. So I was living on the right bank of it. It was like closer to my work. Now I live on the left bank in a completely unknown district. So, but yeah, it was. I guess we were lucky because we managed to move in 2 days after the hit, 2 or 3 days, and actually, yeah, on the brighter side, it was the easiest moving process of my life because I have no stuff. I have one fucking backpack. Yeah.
Yeah. That's true. You don't need to pay for movers. All my shit is cooked anyway. Damn.
Yes.
The silver lining.
So that's how it goes. Well, we'll see what happens next. Right now, I am trying really hard to get back into my work in terms of like trying to chase the tempo because I have fallen out drastically because of these events, and I am really like it is really important for me to perform well on my work, on my job, because it provides me with a should have looked up the term. So I am not being conscripted because of my job, because my job is yes. I work in a pharmaceutical company right now, and it produces important drugs and medicine for the army. So that is why I am considered a like value employee, and it allows me to to not be conscripted. I guess we will speak about it in a moment, about the situation overall in Ukraine, not just my story. So, Mr. Smith, if you want to ask your questions, you are welcome. And actually, I wanted to share that my surname is translated to English as Smith as well.
Nice.
Just so you know that it is like the Ukrainian or Russian equivalent of Smith.
Interesting.
It's basically the same profession.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, anything you can answer is fantastic. You can go into as much depth or as little depth as you want. We're just happy to have you here. So whatever you're comfortable with.
Sounds really nice. I will try to answer as broadly as I can, but I am kind of tight on time because in 1 hour my workday starts. I warned my supervisor that I will be a little late today, so that is no problem. We can like end when it feels logical to like to put a comma in our conversation.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, when you gotta go, just let us know, and we'll kind of start wrapping things up. No problem.
Easy.
Well,
Comma is not the right word. I'm sorry.
Well, I guess foreign policy is the category I have the most questions on. So, is it all right if we start there?
Yes, of course.
Okay. So I guess to start things off, what is, broadly speaking, the public perception in Ukraine of the U.S. and the West more broadly not granting full use of ranged fires?
I need to find some words because I am speaking to you guys, to Americans. Well, obviously that feels like a big bummer for all the Ukrainians. So, yeah, here's our like perspective on these things. So like, yeah, it was obvious for everyone that we are being challenged by a majorly bigger opponent in all senses, like in terms of resources, people. Yeah, and it is actually like from a citizen of an attacked country, it is really expected from our allies to help us in every way possible. Yeah, but instead of this, we had to deal with like all the conditions that we were put into. Well, it's like, you know, it's like someone gives you a hose to put out a fire in your house, but then tells you that you are not allowed to point the fire, to point the water directly at the flames. So like you can use it just to extinguish the flames when they are coming right up your feet, for example. But you cannot point it; it's straight to the source of fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you like put the stream of water directly at the source of the flame, it may become angry and will spill out and to the other houses in the area. So yeah, technically, like you have the tool, you have it in your hands, but you are not allowed to use it where it actually matters.
Mm-hmm.
But still, it's better to have the tool than to just observe your house being consumed by fire. I'm sorry that just fire topic is really close to me right now, and I'm using it as an example.
Sure.
Uh, to be honest, the common thought among Ukrainians that our allies are pussies, especially some European countries, openly support Russia or afraid of it. Of course, I think on like an official level, the overall not granting the full use stuff is was intended to use as a leverage, I guess, for Russia. So like if we consider this as a game or like as Mr. President, Mr. Trump likes to give this example of cards. So uh, it's like more cards to rise stakes, I guess. I don't know how to put it better. Uh, Unfortunately, it's pointless against Russia, as you may have already understood that. So thankfully, now the majority of our partners understand that the only way of stopping Russia is by force. So I wish it like happened much sooner.
Your voice cut out, Bitter Sugar. Let's see if he's still in Discord. Maybe a bit of audio issue. You might leave the channel and rejoin if it's not working.
Yeah, it happens sometimes.
Indeed.
Hello.
You're back.
There he is.
Yes, I'm sorry. I will use my my different internet so I wouldn't be disconnected anymore. 1 second, please.
Okay. Yeah, someone in the chat was asking, I don't know if Agent Smith would know anything about this, about Russia's target priority. They were saying, what were they shooting at? Because the missile hit the roof of the apartment building.
No, they were just shooting at Kiev. Yeah, Russia's intermittently targeted civilians in Ukraine since the war started, but they've especially been hitting them hard in the past year or so. So that is deliberate targeting of civilians. That's not like them trying for some strategic target and missing. Like, the point is to sow terror and undermine the public's support for the war. in order to apply pressure domestically in Ukraine on the Ukrainian government to end the war sooner rather than later, and preferably on Russian terms.
Hasn't that backfired though historically?
Historically, yes, but Moscow doesn't really have a lot of other tools available at the moment. You know, the advance at the front line is very slow, and Ukraine's anti-drone air defenses have gotten pretty good since the war started. Yeah, so Ukraine is pretty capable in defending some of the most strategically sensitive targets in their territory. Ballistic missiles, however, remain a problem. They're inherently difficult to shoot down. They're not really all that accurate, so they're not really good for hitting precision targets, you know, factories, stuff like that, unless you like launch them in big volleys. And so the Russians have kind of reverted to hitting basically what amounts to a secondary target, that being civilians, in order to try to apply political pressure. And the reason that they've started doing that much more in the past year is because Ukraine has basically been forced into a situation where they have a shortage of the munitions they need to shoot them down. Patriot missiles are among the missiles that can shoot them down, but the United States started putting curbs on how many they're willing to sell. We didn't really know why for a while, but obviously since the hostilities with Iran have started, it's become apparent that they were preparing for that. And given that the United States has blown through a good chunk of its inventory there, probably those curbs on sales to Ukraine will remain in place for the foreseeable future. There's actually been talk recently, specifically from President Trump, that he might allow them to manufacture their own Patriots. But I think, like I mentioned when we last talked about that, that's going to be pretty unlikely, just for technical and national security reasons.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think the Israelis have a munition that can shoot down ballistic missiles too, but obviously they're keeping that for themselves, especially given the current hostilities with Iran.
I had
I
a
think it was
question for the other Smith. For you have basically a conscription immunity because you're an intelligence hero. They want to have you doing your smart stuff. Are there people you know, like friends of yours, who have been conscripted?
Yes, a lot of people I know, unfortunately. And a lot of people I know are already veterans. They have already returned with some severe injuries. I actually shared the information about my former coach from the gym. That he was a police officer in back in the day. After that, he retired, and he started to train people at the gym. And when the full-scale invasion began, he went directly to the front line. As a defender, he spent 2 years in trenches, and he was promoted from a infantry warrior. I'm really bad with the right terms. So he was promoted from trench seater to he was helping the little artillery division to guide their strikes via drone, because at the beginning of the war there were no first-person view drones yet, but they actively used just usual drones that allowed to scout the area. And after that, he was moved to real artillery division. He was a part of M777 division. He was a part of it. M37s. I don't know how to pronounce it correctly. I guess you have the idea of what I'm talking about.
Mhm. Yeah, it's fodder for artillery.
I put the name of it in Twitch chat. So
M777 howitzer.
M777. Yes.
Oh, the actual artillery piece. Got it.
If you have a hard time understanding me, just say so I could try to find better words, or try to convey it in some other form, because it's hard for me right now to speak because I'm rusty in terms of English, but yeah, it helps a lot.
You're fine. You're doing well. I think you have a pretty soft Slavic accent, but it's not that difficult to understand you at all. But the tone of being so aloof about such a crazy situation, it gives you a cool factor. So you're doing well.
Well, that can be said about like Ukrainians in general. So we are very past the stage of like being really nervous and desperate about the situation. We have accepted it in general, and you just just lay down and die, or what do? You just move on. You just keep on doing your thing.
Yeah, I like that last part of the video that you showed us where you take the camera and look through the window and the road looks really busy and it's kind of the middle of the operations of the day and people are still going about their lives. Even though missiles get lobbed at them, like, well, still got to go to work, still got to make money and survive and get by.
Yeah, that's a fucking bummer, because if you are not hit, like you just spend your night in the shelter, everything's fine for you. You return to your house, to your home in the morning. You haven't fucking slept, because shelters, it's not a peaceful place where you can rest. Shelter. Maybe I can pull some pictures just for you to understand. Because there is a lot of people, there is a lot of like elder people, a lot of children, a lot of kids, people with their domestic animals, with their pets, and they are trying to like. So you have to spend at least 5 to 6 hours at night in some place where you cannot even like sit comfortably. When I go to the shelter, I tend to like, well, you can lay down if you have some kind of inflammable,
Inflatable.
inflatable. Yes, I'm sorry. If you have some kind of inflatable like mattress, and if you are really like, you have to come in advance, and like 2 or 3 hours before the attack, so you can actually get a place, like some piece of area that would allow you to at least stretch your legs. When we came to shelter that night that we were hit, we were sitting in this like foldable chairs that are used like for some picnics or for some nature trips, when you like fold the chair and sit in front of some body of water and like enjoy the scenery. We use these chairs to sit in shelters. And noises, different people like speaking, coughing, sneezing, elder people smelling not really pleasant. So it is really impossible to rest. And after that, of course, you are expected to go and do your work and like perform as you should. But this like going to the shelter at least allows you to survive. Like you have 100% guarantee that you will survive the night, because you are deeply underground. our shelters are either like buried like 5 to 10 meters into the ground, like the real shelters, the Soviet USSR shelters that were designed for nuclear war. We have those, and the more common shelter for people to use, it's actually a subway station, because you can go deeply underground and like be there. People just come there on platforms and like stay there. So I guess you have the idea of how it goes.
Indeed.
Well, a lot of these questions that I sent you are kind of older. You probably noticed. So I wanted to ask for a little elaboration. The U.S., probably more so the West, Europe, actually has kind of facilitated some expansion in the use of ranged fires. We've seen over the past year the expansion in the Ukrainian campaign, targeting Russian oil facilities, natural gas facilities, and whatnot.
Yep.
What is, broadly speaking, the public perception of that? Is there a sense that that's going to continue and expand? Is there a sense that it's kind of having a sufficient impact on the Russians to bring them to the table?
It feels really nice. That's what can I say? Because this actually brings the war back to their origin, back to its origin. It goes back from where it came, because people in Russia, they were completely unaware that something happens here, because their media, they distort all the facts, they distort all the news. So of course there are Russians that hate us, and they're happy with how things go here. But like the majority of people, they were completely like I guess ignorant to the fact that we are like suffering here. And now they have a good opportunity to feel what we feel when their cities are getting struck, when their like oil prices, not oil but petrol, gasoline prices rise, when they are in a large queues to like just fill up the tank of their cars, when they have to wait, they have to fight for gas on the gas stations. So it actually feels righteous, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, we know for a fact that all of this like deep strike campaign, it will be upscaled by a big margin in autumn, in fall. We are expecting our first ballistic missiles to shoot at Russia, because we have information that they were already like trialed and tested, and it was successful. Well, maybe it's all like a part of information campaign against Russia that is intended to force them to come to negotiations. But as our president Zelensky likes to say, our long-range sanctions are working. So that's all. Actually, like I cannot put it better than this.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, our allies, as far as I'm concerned, well, we have a lot of new factories in Europe that actually were like built. They started to build them like 2 or 3 years ago, and now they are already yielding some really valuable ammunition, artillery shells, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, as you could have guessed, it is very dangerous to build a new production facilities here in Ukraine because they can be fucking just hit at any time of day. All these stuff that is new in Ukraine is already built underground in unknown places because all of the like large scale military plants from the Soviet time, they are all already destroyed by Russia. So we have no real official military facilities. Now it is like being really spread, being hidden on the ground, and more of like not government property base, but on like private company base. So we have different private companies that are actually like they are essential to all of the defense strategies, and they have large hard to translate. I have to look up the word. I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem.
This is much easier than if Agent Smith and I tried to speak Russian or Ukrainian.
Well, you can try. I'm sure I will understand you.
Okay, let's start.
Well,
Blyet.
nice.
Nice.
God, I can't remember the last time I tried to speak Russian. Maskidravka, Dradinia. I think those are the only ones I can remember.
Well, you have a nice R, like R.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I cannot translate the actual like term of it, but it's when the government or the country it orders for some private company to produce something. So it's like government order or like I hope
Yeah,
you
government
get the
contract is what I think we would call that.
idea. Contract. Okay. Yeah. Yes. So with all of the dynamics, like of how it develops, I guess we are in a far better place than we were like in 2022, 2023. Our main issue right now is, of course, the amount of people on the front line that are actually willing to fight. Conscription program or like campaign is really strict right now. You can, well, it really became really strict, I guess, in March of this year, because there were times when like I was driving to my work, to my job and back from it, and I was checked on the way in and on the way out. So we have this thing that is called like mobile block posts. So everywhere in the city, a block post can appear, and you will be stopped by a policeman, and like you are stopped by a policeman, but people in green uniform come to you to speak to you, and you have to show them your documents. And if you have like documents in not a correct state, or like they will check up the databases and see that you are actually being looked for, because all of the men in Ukraine, they have this obligation to serve. And if you are trying to dodge or like escape your duty, you will be pressed with the criminal charges. So in my case, I've taken the only legal way of not doing it. Like I'm helping in other critically important region of the economy, because somehow still like they cannot conscript everyone. We have this thing right now in Ukraine. It is being used by military, like volunteers and influencers, they say that you are either like in the army or you are for the army. So
Hmm.
in order for us to survive, there are only two ways. There is, so you either like actively fight or you are actively helping other people to fight.
Hmm. Now, I've read there's been a lot of debate in Ukraine about the conscription issue. Things like conscription officers sometimes brutalizing people that they're trying to detain, sometimes coercing people. And there's a countervailing sense that to a degree that's justified because there's such a need for manpower at the front. Could you maybe kind of detail that debate a little bit and the different sides?
Well, it's all true. It happens. It happens every time. Uh, you can like look at it from a different perspectives, like from a perspective of an army, of a military forces. People that are fighting on the front line, they need to, like, if they're not dying, they still have to be replaced because people need to rest.
Mhm.
And actually, if like our military uh, like commanders are planning some kind of counter-offense, etc., you have to have a lot more people than we actually have right now. We have to have some people in like reserves to replace the fallen and then the wounded. So from the military perspective, it's actually obvious and really justified why we are the conscription company is being so strict, and there is some kind of Soviet echo, unfortunately, because, for example, like we have different regions and areas in Ukraine, different large cities, different like rural areas, etc. And they have some kind of a plan that is being like ordered from a higher military command to the lower one. So, for example, you have to conscript 20,000 people per month. Like, you have to do it. That's an order. So, do it. If
Mhm.
you are not doing it, you will serve on the front line yourself. And like lower military command, what can they do? They can like force their people to be more strict because the situation isn't allowing us to uh, like look at all the cases through the lens of a court. If some of people's rights were uh, offended because there are just really a really big number of these different situations, it is almost impossible to like have a court session for every broken people
Mhm.
right now. And from the perspective of like citizen, from a civilians, uh, of course, it has been like really frowned upon and really looked down on the situation where people in green uniforms are forcing a young man into their cars because they were caught evading the military service. Well, I am an example of a person that like I am being checked. They see that my documents is all right, so I'm having a legal reason not to be conscripted, and they just let me go. It happens like once a week or so. I have no problem. I can move around the country wherever I want. I don't have to sit at home and hide. But we have about 2 million men that are actively hiding and avoiding military service. So, like all of the conscription campaign, it gets more stricter and stricter. And now the next step that they are trying to implement right now is that people who avoid military service, they won't be allowed to use credit cards, they won't be allowed to use banks, they won't be allowed to drive. So their like driver licenses, they will be hold off. And yeah, so basically, if you sit at home, it's really hard to find you. It's really hard to know where you are, especially with the fact that it is really easy to rent an apartment. So, well, of course, you have like your registration in your ID. It is like written there, but you, when they come to your like official place of living, they are not finding you because you are hiding somewhere else. And in order to do so, to continue with this like hiding chain, I guess, you have to have some resources to live because you cannot leave your house. You will be caught. Your documents will, your IDs and documents will be checked, and they will see that you are like that you are avoiding the service. You cannot use banks. You cannot use your car. You have to have, for example, some maybe relatives or some other source of money of resources to be able to eat, to be able to pay for your rent, etc. And I am sure you have come across the information that well, it is true as well that you can buy yourself some kind of reason to not to serve. It is really expensive right now. I guess now it's about $20,000 or something. So you can buy a forged, you can buy a forged like decision of the commission that evaluates your health. You can buy a document that states that you are a disabled person and you cannot serve, etc. So yeah, of course, where is a demand, the supply will come. And our government works really hard to fight these things, to do something against it. We have news all the time that some doctor was caught forging these documents. Some head of health commission, they were caught getting bribed, etc., etc. But yeah, that is the reality. So if you have money, especially if you have a lot of it, you can or you have different ways of avoiding military service. And of course, people who cannot pay their way out of the military, they have no choice. That is all the like remnants of Soviet period, because people are bribable. It is really damaging for our defensive capabilities. But it is what it is. I'm trying to paint you a real picture of what happens here. So yeah, people are getting caught in the streets. Sometimes if they have their the documents wrong, or if it is like undisclosed that they are trying to avoid service. And people who have money, they have different ways of buying their freedom, I guess. And even they can buy ability to leave the country. People with big money have already done that. So that is the reality, unfortunately.
Is the broader part of the public more sympathetic to people who are concerned about serving on the front line, or are they more sympathetic to the government's position?
Well, it depends. It actually depends, because we have a lot of people here, like in the rear, not being on the front line, that are actively helping the army. all of the military services, a lot of volunteers. For example, we have this. It wasn't like strictly we weren't obligated to go through these trainings, but it was voluntarily, it was for free. We had these courses of how to stop major bleeds in people. So we were gathered and we were like we were taught how to use tourniquets on different limbs, different parts of the body. We were taught how to use oh, I forgot the name. So yeah, we were taught how to close big wounds, how to stop major bleeds, etc. Just to the more people, the more citizens have these skills, the safer it becomes if something happens. And as you could have guessed, a lot of people are trying to like create this environment in which it is not like shunned or it's not hard to go to military service because people will chew you up. You'll become actually a hero. We have these like different billboards around the city that are advertising military service because it's actually a lot more. It's actually a lot better for a person to go into military service on their will because they will be able to get a nice paid position, for example. They will be able to choose in which part of like military. It's a really big structure. A lot of units are involved in all of this like defense mechanisms. So if you go to serve like voluntarily, you're able to choose whatever you like, whether you want to fly drones or you want to like shoot from artillery, maybe you want to cook food for people. You have choices. If you are getting conscripted on the street forcefully, like when you are forced to do it, you have no choice because you've been caught, and if you are smart and young, that is very likely that you will be an first-person view drone pilot. If you are older, it is almost certain that you will be counted into the infantry ranks. Unfortunately, that's how it goes. Uh, uh, and overall, right now, there is like common thought among Ukrainians that everyone who really wanted to fight, who had capabilities, who had like the idea of being a warrior, protecting your country, they are all already at the front line. And now the only like men left, they are not motivated. They are hiding, and there is a like big margin, big percentage of conscripted people who, after like they're being conscripted, they flee the battlegrounds. Uh, they're trying to like avoid in some way. Uh, that is that is caused by a big margin by the like smaller commanders in the field.
Mm-hmm.
It really depends on the troops. It really depends on the commanding units, because if people are treated as shit, as like as meat for slaughter, as like cannon fodder, I guess that's the right English name for it. And if people see that their brothers in arms are being treated like a cannon fodder, of course they have no fucking motivation.
Mm.
So this problem is very complex. if we had better conditions in our army, if we didn't have these old Soviet pieces of shit that are like old men, like 70, 80 years old, that I still have their positions high in Ministry of Defense, that are trying to wage the war in the ways that were like were acceptable like 60 years ago, for example. Yeah, if we didn't have all of it, maybe a lot more people would have volunteered to actually fight. And the situation with the Minister of Defense, the Fedorov, it's actually a good example of like the new, or the young, the like creative new commanders trying to like push out all the Soviet shit that was canned up in higher cabinets, having the old ways and having their corruption schemes tuned and well oiled, and they are running for decades right now. For people who don't know, actually, one of the most effective ministers of defense of Ukraine all fucking time, Mikhailo Fedorov, he was like taken down of his position after all of like really useful stuff that he did. He is the father of such called Army of Drones foundation that is called Brave One, that is used to so like different companies can compete and can tender. I guess this tender, it's not the right word, or maybe it is.
Engender, yeah. To cultivate something.
I'm sorry, I'm looking the word.
No problem.
Yeah, it translates as just tendering. So when you have different propositions from different companies, and some kind of council decides which proposition is taken. So it removes the factor of corruption, of lobbying interests of some like particular companies. They just compare the the price, the effectiveness, so they can choose really the best option. So he provided this system. Of course, his main deed that he has done is that he had spoken to Mr. Elon Musk and agreed with him on the fact, Elon Musk agreed with him on the fact that he should switch off all the Starlinks for Russians. That was the major thing that affected the battlefield immediately, because Russians were using Starlinks as the main thing to control and to communicate between different troops, and they even put Starlinks on the back of Shaheds. So Shahed, this big UAV fucking drone that had 90 kilos of explosive in it, it would become a real big first-person view drone. So a pilot could actually navigate it in real time. It was very dangerous because Shahed is designed to be programmed for some kind of coordinates and use GPS to target it. And it was used against stationary targets, and I guess you get the idea how dangerous it becomes when these big drones could be controlled in real time by pilots. So it could the Shahed, it could hit a moving target, for example a train, and actually it disrupted, like this switching off of Starlinks. It disrupted all of the communication between Russian forces. So it effectively disrupted their advancement for a nice period of time. Of course, they are finding ways of how to like go around it. We had the information that they are like putting this like old telephone lines like in World War One. They were using this to like to connect different parts of their units on the battlefield.
Mm-hmm.
Just to replace the Starlink connection, because like when you have I guess it's now 1,500 of satellites around the Earth. Yeah, so like you can be in a fucking forest or in a field somewhere in trenches and still have like a connection, like a home Wi-Fi. So that is a big part of our ability to defend ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So if you guys see Mr. Elon Musk, say thank you to him.
I think I might have some other things to say to him too. So Fedorov was in competition with some of the more, shall we say, Soviet legacy officers in the Ukrainian army.
Correct.
And there's been some drama there recently, correct?
Yes, that was a drama. It was like a really big scandal. And after Fedorov was taken off his position, he gave this like really broad interview, really big panel, in which he had described all the things that happened. Like, I can give you an example. I can try to translate it correctly, but okay, so just bear with me. For example, one of the examples that he gave on the speech, that there was a government contract for creating of special, don't know the right name of it, like quadricycles, like this special buggy, like motorcycle units, but with 4 wheels. You get that? I'm trying to convey, right?
ATV, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it was a big contract of producing these small vehicles, and one vehicle, like the ones that were proposed by the people that were in committee, the vehicles that costed $17,000 per unit, and it was described as like military tuned units that were allowed to put this anti-drone defense on. So like it's a big box of like radio warfare stuff. I don't know how to translate it, but I guess you get the idea.
Mm-hmm.
And it costed $17,000 per one unit. And Fedorov discovered that actually this radio warfare box can be placed on every other fucking bicycle, not the bicycle, but this motorcycle unit. It can be put on every, with little modification, it can be put on like any model, any other model. And the usual model of this this thingy costs $9,000, so twice as cheaper, twice as cheap as the one that was proposed. So it is obvious that somewhere in this like defense committee that were responsible for all of these purchases through government contracts. They were interested that this like 17,000 units, $70,000 units would be purchased, but they are twice as expensive as the usual ones. And usual ones are actually doing the same thing with small modifications. So it's obvious that it was like a part of some corruption scheme, just to maybe launder money or like burn some government money, and he was against it. And of course, people who tried to convey this great deal, they were mad. And just one example of like what caused friction between Fedorov, like person from a new generation of military command, and the Soviet ones. It's all about money. So, and Fedorov is the person who like actually tries to do something that matters, and he has a vision of how to actually win this war, because Tyrsky, that is the officer in command of all of the military forces, he's a Soviet old man. He has a vision of how to postpone our loss or prolong like our retaliation, but he has no idea how to actually win and do something that will be critical for Russia. Fedorov has this idea that we have a lot smaller numbers of people.
Your voice is cutting out, Bitter Sugar. It's all garbly, like.
One, two, three, check, ping.
It's fixed. Good job.
Okay,
Back
nice.
to normal.
So, what was I saying? Yes, so Fedorov has this idea of how to wage such called an asymmetrical war. It would allow us having smaller numbers of troops to actually have an edge against Russians. And of course, it should be done via drones, especially artificial intelligence ones, via middle strikes that middle strike like 70 to 100 kilometers that are designed to bleed out the Russian logistics, and the deep strikes that are designed to bleed out Russian oil facilities. And eventually it should strip Russia of their financial capabilities that are fueling their ability to fight.
Mm.
We can continue on, like you have a lot of different questions about perception of Russia. I can like speak about this if you are interested.
Oh yeah, I'm just not sure how we're doing on time. I think you said we only had an hour.
Well, I can have like another 30 or 40 minutes if you want.
Okay. Yeah, if that's okay with you, certainly we would love to have you for longer.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, we can get into perceptions of Russia and how they've changed since the war started. And I was particularly interested in changes amongst Ukraine's Russophile population, because I know there had been a substantive number.
Yes, so like where do I even begin? Of course, as we have discussed previously, there was a time when we were like one country with Russia.
Mhm.
So if we are talking like before 2014, we had like, if I'm not mistaken, according to the polls, about 95% of people was very positive about Russia. So we had like a common information bubble. We had a common TV, common stars. That was like a Soviet legacy, I guess. So we just inherited the fact that like the center of the country is in Moscow, and Kiev was like everything was in Russian. Russian language was used really widely. So yeah, if we're talking like 2014, like when the shit started
Mhm.
from the Crimea uh, invasion, for some people like me who had to like flee their cities, of course, the relation to Russia changed dramatically. Uh, and after that, a much bigger amount of people experienced this in 2022. So I guess after 2014, according to the polls, about 50% of Ukrainians were positive towards Russia, and after 2022, only 2 or 3% were saying something nice. Uh, yeah, as I have mentioned, we had common information bubble, Russian TV, propaganda was really strong. Uh, Overall, we were much closer to Russia. Uh, After they invaded, basically everything changed because, uh, like it's like being stabbed in the back. You are not expecting it from your greatest ally, from people who you are speaking the same language with. So yeah, people actually started to speak Ukrainian now and switch from Russian. They started to reject everything that had Russian origins. And what's interesting, suddenly there was a big like niche open uh, in the culture senses. For example, YouTube and different like music creators. Uh, so yeah, now we have a lot more of our local YouTubers, musicians, etc. Uh, so there was a demand, and where the demand rose, the supply appeared. So yes, that's the right way to say it. So now it's not hard to guess. Overall perception of Russia is that they are enemies. And suddenly all of the historic events that were remembered, uh, and like we had such called friendship, quote unquote. Uh, but yeah, after this happened, all of the historic stuff was remembered as well, because to be like really clear about it, uh, relations like from Russia to us, relations based on abuse, and this friendship ended, fortunately. Some analytics, like some people, some influencers that are related to the war and to the political situation, some experts, they say that actually Putin has made a really big strategical mistake directly attacking us. In order to like occupy us, he should have continued this like soft power strat, and it actually, I guess, would have turned us to some kind of second Belarus.
Mhm.
If you are acquainted with the situation in Belarus, they are completely like a Russian satellite. Some people there have their like national identity. They try to speak Belarusian language. But overall, they have the Russian language as their official one, and some of people are very supportive of the war, of such called, they call it SVO. They do not call it like a directly war. They call it a special military operation. From Russian abbreviation is SVO. So they are really supportive. They are agreeing with Russians that we should be punished for our deeds. That we are like Nazis, etc., etc. So yeah, like if we take this time span from the collapse of Soviet Union to now, like to present days, we had a pro-Russian like fucking president basically. So like Putin's will, it could be directly dictated into fucking Yanukovych, which were former president, which was completely pro-Russian. So Putin's will, like his desires and his perceptions, they could be directly fucking dictated into Yanukovych's ear. So like, how could he influence our country more? And now he has attacked us, and now we suddenly reject everything Russian. We speak Ukrainian, etc., etc. So that it doesn't seem like a big reunion and USSR resurrection. So that is like this point of view on the events.
Now, you've got particularly interesting insight here. And obviously, you don't have to go into detail about exactly where you're from, but you did mention at one point that you're from Donbass, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
And that's obviously a very sensitive region in the context of the overarching conflict since 2014.
Right. You are absolutely correct. I had to flee my native town in 2014. I actually finished school and was ready to enroll into the university, and I had to do it already in Kiev. And my family had to move. Now we had to move again, but yeah, that is not a rare story now, because a lot of people who moved in 2014 to like a closer regions to the Donbass. So they didn't go far. They just decided to stay on the territory that was controlled by Ukraine, but they didn't go really far from the region. And now the majority of these cities are destroyed and occupied. So a lot of people, like as my parents, for example, they had to move twice. The first time was in 2014. The second time was in 2022. Yeah, so I guess just bad luck in terms of like spawning point.
Yeah. Well, is there a sense that how people feel in the Donbass about Russia, does that pretty much mirror the rest of Ukraine, or are they a little different? Are they still relatively pro-Russia?
Are you asking about the people who are in these new regions, like Donetsk People Republic, etc.? So the regions that were under Russian influence since 2014?
Yeah, those.
Well, now it is official by Russian institution that these regions belong to Russia, so they are part of Russia now. Since so they invaded in February 24th, and I guess it was February 22nd or 21st when Putin gave this like order to acknowledge all the new created republic. Of course, it just was a scenery because they were created long before that and acknowledged. But people there, well, we have some connections to Donbass because my wife's relatives are still there. Well, before 2022, they were like even happy about it. So yeah, now we are a part of Russia. We're Russian people. It's really good for us, etc., etc. But after 2022 and after all of the active uh, war-related stuff started to happen, of course they are getting hit as well because they are closer to us. More our tools can reach to Donbass, and the Russians had their oil storages, like petrol storages, different uh, ammunition storages there. So, of course, they were hit first, just because they are closer to reach than on some like real, as we tend to say, real Russian territories. About all the territories that are occupied after 2014, it is common for Ukrainians to say that they are temporarily occupied. So every time we mention Donbass, we mention even Crimea, we say that they are temporarily occupied, temporarily occupied. Yes, so
Mhm.
that's just to, I guess, to rally the spirits that this may change in future.
Mhm.
Yeah, so people there now they are not really happy with what happens, especially now when the oil prices, not the oil, sorry, the gasoline prices have risen. It affected them directly because logistically it is harder to like deliver different goods to them. Food prices are rising as well. So, like just to compare, overall, citizen in Ukraine, like in current state of Ukraine and current state of Russia, and especially Donbass, they are actually experiencing really similar things. So we are getting hit. Of course, Ukrainians are getting hit a lot more, and we are experiencing it for 4 years, and people of Donbass as well. So uh, for like Russians that live in real Russian territory, it it's only beginning. It's only the beginning. They will feel everything that we were feeling up to this date.
Mhm.
Uh, but overall, it is similar because our gasoline prices are rising as well. Therefore, food prices are rising as well. It is well, they say it like every winter, but they say that this winter that comes, winter of 2026, will be the hardest winter in the history of Ukraine, etc., etc., because Russians will hit our like power facilities again, energetic, different infrastructure, etc., etc. And it was expected for them to hit different water purifying structures in the summer, but yeah, maybe it's coming. We don't know, but like now we have electricity, we have water, so overall conditions in terms of like basic goods or basic needs, people they are fulfilled. The main problem in the summers that they are really intensifying attacks against civil infrastructure and against like just people, like what happened to me. Similar thing happened the last summer. So when it is not optional, I guess, not optional, but how do I put it? So in winter they hit different power plants, different electro stations, etc., because we have large uh, consuming, I guess, of the power because of the cold. So it is like they hit us where it hurts, and in winter it hurts uh, all the electricity related facilities. In summer, they start to hit like more of military targets and civil targets as well, just like to terrorize people. And the situation, for example, in Kiev, it's not so dire because Kiev is kind of far from the front line, and they can reach here with only high tech weapons, and that are really expensive. The situation is a lot more dire in closer cities, for example, because they use these bombs that are like, let me translate it. Yeah, so just they use their aircraft bombs or aerial bombs that are they have, I guess, like 70 kilometers. So it's like
Oh, glide
uh,
bombs.
yeah, right. So they can reach closer cities, and people are terrorized by them every fucking day. And actually, the drones with optic fiber, they can fly up to 40, 50 kilometers as well. In miles, it's like 30 miles, I guess, maybe 20 to 20 something miles, just for you to understand the distances.
Mhm.
Uh, they can fly into big cities. They terrorize civilians. They hit, for example, there was a news yesterday. There was a in the news yesterday that they deliberately hit the truck that was carrying bread. So like the truck that is like going out of bread plant facility. Don't know the right name of it. It was like moving out of it and carrying fresh bread for people, and it was hit deliberately. And this stuff is very common right now. So what we experience here in Kiev is not even remotely close to the uh, things that people that live in Zaporizhia, for example, experience. Like um, cities that are much closer to Russian border.
Harrison?
So yes, Kherson, Sumy, you can like look on the map, and everything that is close to the Russian to the occupied lands, it is being hit non-stop, constantly, all day, every day. Bombs, FPV drones, they have like this Lancet drones, etc., etc. So
Gotcha.
unfortunately, yeah, that is the reality. And as you could have guessed, the most peaceful life is in western regions of Ukraine.
Mhm.
They are not even getting hit right now. So if they're like launching a really big and technologically complicated, combined attacks that involve cruise missiles, ballistic missiles, drones, etc., they are hitting Kiev. And when it comes to like more of routine stuff like bombs, gliding bombs, and like close range drones, first person view drones with optic fiber, they are terrorizing the eastern cities, eastern and southern. And so if people want to rest, they tend to go west. That's
Gotcha.
the vibe.
Yeah, I
So
think I
cities
remember
like
reading that
Lviv,
Lvov got hit a couple times.
yes, Lviv, it was hit a couple times, but there is no comparison to Kiev, and of course no comparison
Mm.
to other eastern cities. So it was hit, different like western cities, especially in winter, because like we get electricity. There are two nuclear plants that provide electricity for us, and we involve European electricity supply when it's needed. We buy electricity from Romania, if I'm not mistaken, and from Hungary, and of course all of these like smaller stations they're located in the west. So in winter, when Russian campaign is pointed at our energetic infrastructure, of course they hit western parts, but still they do not like very majorly hit civilian infrastructure, just energetic. Uh, I guess they do not have like immense resources, so they have to actually choose their targets and to think where it would be like more painful for us. Because, for example, one ballistic missiles it costs, I don't remember the price, but like the last attack that involved like 5 different ballistic missiles, I guess it was estimated like at $20 million. So they want to hit us, they had to like really think carefully where they want to hit us because it's fucking expensive for them.
Mhm. Well, if we have time, I would love to get into the Poland question, if that's all right.
Yeah, sure.
So
It's
there's,
actually quite a hot topic right now as well.
yeah, it's. I guess I had the right idea when I asked it originally. These questions were originally from like 22, 23 thereabouts. So yeah, the recently the drama was over the medal that the Ukrainian government was naming after the Ukrainian insurgent army and the leader thereof.
Yes.
And that's been the source of tension. And going back a little further, there was some tension regarding Ukrainian trucks, I think, which were allowed into Poland, and that Polish truck drivers were upset about supposedly lowering their wages and rates through the
Yes.
additional competition. So that's a whole thing unto itself, but I was curious about the perception among Ukrainians of that tension. Maybe you could kind of dig into that a little bit.
Yes, I would happily do it. Are there Polish people here? Should I swear or? No. I'm not going to curse, but yeah. Well, like just to describe you my point of view, like an overall common Ukrainian point of view. Of
Mhm.
course, it's it's a hard and history-based topic. Yeah, and basically the main problem is the actions of UIA, that's Ukrainian Insurgent Army. Well, they fought against 3 different regimes: the Soviet, Polish, and the German. In the like time spent from 1942 to 1949. Of course, in Ukraine, they are cherished as national heroes because back then they did everything possible in interest of Ukraine. Why they fought against Soviets? Because they were, of course, especially Western regions, they were angry because of Holodomor, because of 1933 famine that was caused, like it was an artificial famine. It led to death from many Ukrainians, and overall, the Red communists they took a lot of Ukrainian property. So I wouldn't dig into the historic part right now to not waste time, but yeah, overall motives of Ukrainians and the reasons for Ukrainian insurgent army to form, they're actually clear, and in my opinion, they are historically justified. So why did they collaborate with Germans? Because they wanted to get back at Soviets. Uh, yeah. So and with the Polish people, it started before the World War II. They wanted to fight the Polish regime as well. So uh, during, I'm sorry, not before the World War II, before the yeah, they fought it as a part of like German forces. I'm not actually really good with dates right now, but overall idea that they were trying to do what they thought was best for Ukraine at the moment, and it involved fighting on the German side, on the Nazi side, against uh, against the Red Army. So they are like they were in collaboration with Nazis because they thought that Nazis are gonna win, I guess, and that would provide a better future for Ukraine. So yeah, their actions are really was really controversial. Different people give different opinions about them, but it is what it is. It happened almost 100 years ago, so it just for us as a fact to learn. And of course, uh, their actions were based on the fact that they loved Ukraine. They were Ukrainian nationalists. Yes, they had some dark moments. Some of them are remembered, of course, and we are now getting actively reminded of these events. As Polish people, so some of our nowadays warriors are nationalists as well, and they cherish Ukraine. They have this the oath of Ukrainian nationalists. So there is a big speech which they have to uh, learn by heart and say when they are getting accepted to the troops. So that's like a whole ritual for Ukrainian nationalists. And actually, this national idea-based troops are the most effective and the most effective and the most respected troops on the battlefield. And of course, from time to time, they are getting rewards from president on a constant basis. And some of the rewards is going to be named after the heroes that the Ukrainians believe to that they were heroes, even though despite their not so great actions towards one or the other regimes. Um, so yeah, that's a fact. And of course, it's very obvious that the Polish uh, uh, would be offended by would be really offensive to Polish people because yeah, when some darker moments of Ukrainian history are getting cherished, and even on official level, the president gives reward to nationally oriented warriors, etc., etc. That is not accepted. But the problem is the Polish must understand that that is all very correct, but it is not fucking the right time to do it. It's really inappropriate timing. They are throwing, I don't know the actual saying of it, but I guess that is they're throwing the monkey wrench into our wheels. But now, when we have the common enemy, Russia, so there is much of a bigger threat right now. And when it comes to this blockade of trucks on our border, yes, you were completely correct. Polish farmers didn't want to let us sell our grains, etc., because they are much cheaper. The workforce in Ukraine is much cheaper than in Poland. So it felt like a step in the back again, which happened historically multiple times because Ukraine was back and forth with the West and the East. They fought against the Polish regime, aligned with Russia, and vice versa. So we were always in between two flames, I guess. That's the right thing to put it. So it is very understandable that Polish people feel offended and that they do not want to have lower prices and get less money for their crops, grains, and stuff. But that is just like the another level of threat that is looming.
Hmm.
So I guess what would be right is to leave all this historic dispute to peaceful times. And we would, of course, apologize and let Polish people here in Ukraine. They wanted to look for the remains of their ancestors to to how can I translate it? So like rebury them,
Hmm.
to dig them up and to transfer them to Poland and bury them there. So yeah, historic events. So of course we must remember history. We must learn lessons from it, but it's just not the appropriate time.
Hmm.
And when it comes to history, history remembers that Poland in their time did exactly the same thing that Ukrainians doing to Poland. Poland did this to German farmers, to German like economy, etc. But I guess Germany was feeling guilty because of World War II events, and they just had to like deal with it,
Hmm.
which is not the case yeah in Polish views. And unfortunately, some Polish people are being really racist to us, even though the vast majority of Ukrainians that flee to Poland, uh, women and children, they now live and work there. They pay taxes. They enlarge their GDP by just being there and like creating, like being a workforce. So uh, Polish people say that some Polish people say, like I believe that the majority of Polish people are positively are positive about Ukrainians, but some Polish people that hate us, they say that Ukrainians took their jobs, etc. So they are being kind of racist to us. Of course, all the above mentioned Ukrainian insurgent army doesn't help. They use it as a very convenient argument to their deeds, and even different politicians in Poland, they actually like fueling this topic very actively. For us, it implies, and I hope for the other civil world, it implies that they work in Russian interests, because, of course, it's obvious that the Russia is a main beneficiary of such activities, of like rocking this ship of relationship between Ukraine and Poland. So, uh, Polish people hear me right now. Uh, it's all very healthy to like have a historic dispute, but it just should be postponed to a more peaceful times. That is my opinion.
Yeah, for them to be making that a sticking point now is kind of like twisting a knife when you're already getting stabbed from someone else. You'd rather have the
Yes,
conversation when you can give them the proper attention.
that is a very accurate way to put it. Thank you, Master Neuro.
Yes. You mentioned Zelensky. I was just curious because in the United States, there's some news sources that are more friendly to Russia and some that are less friendly. And some of the ones that are more friendly to Russia kind of cast doubt on Zelensky's integrity as a leader. What do you feel as a Ukrainian citizen? How do your people feel about him? Because he's had a very difficult time to be president, but like you said, there are some kind of carryover Soviet types of corruption that your country is just dealing with, and he's obviously not a perfect person.
Yes. Uh, it is very controversial right now as well, especially with all the Fedorov stuff, all that, all the events that were related to our current Minister of Defense being took down from his position. People tend to think that Zelensky did this just because Fedorov was becoming too famous, and Mr. Zelensky is very worried about his population among people in terms of next elections. So that is that. Of course, we believe that he's trying to do everything in his power for our ability to defend ourselves. I guess his foreign policy is impeccable. Everything he did, like outside of Ukraine, and especially with Trump, it was all very correct, and it led to us having an ability to defend ourselves, to like aid, to money, to financial help, to uh, ammunition, etc. But inside of country, like he is not doing a really good job. It is very obvious, and a lot of his decisions are not very objective, I'd say, because we believe that he lives in some kind of information bubble and he doesn't see some obvious things that are happening here, because he gets his information from different reports, but he's not like encapsulated in this bubble. Of course, he sees that people are like protesting in the street with cardboard different like pieces, saying that he's not doing the right thing, trying to like get him to listen to them, to people who are protesting right now, and it works. So he's been really afraid of his ratings, and it doesn't allow him to completely ignore what people demand. That is a good thing. And well, he could have done a much better work in terms of corruption, in terms of his corrupt friends, now former friends. Of course, you have seen in the news all these scandals that his like close friend, the head of president's office, Yermak, he was like shunned away. He was took down from his position because of different corruption schemes, etc. And it's really painful to see that even people in such dire situations, when we are getting fucking attacked by like the worst enemy you could imagine, and even in these conditions, people still are trying to like fill up their pockets while they can. And one people leave, other people come and do the same thing over and over again. Maybe just in human nature, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what I would have done if I got this much power or this much money. Would it corrupt me? But like from my point of view, and I believe it is shared among Ukrainians in general, he is not doing a really good job as a president to the country, like inside of it, because his actions are pointed outside of Ukraine, where he succeeds, but inside of our country, he maybe delegated some kind of actions to other people, and that people are not doing a really good job. For example, like take it that he ordered for different regions to prepare for the upcoming winter. He ordered them to protect all the power stations, to build like 3 layers of protection from drones, from missiles, etc. And it wasn't checked. And for some power plants, all of the money was stolen. So no protection was built. And we believe that all of the shit show, like with not doing a good job here among like smaller managers, it would end when they are gonna be punished for real. Because from what we see, for example, some kind of corruptioner in some region, he stole, let's say, like $500,000 on building of defenses for power plant. Let's just assume that. So he stole $500,000. He is like in the trail, in the court trail. We see the news where he is being judged by people. The judge like listens to all of the sides of this case, etc., etc. Just like a court session, like usual court session. And for example, like uh, the result of it that this person is going to be contained in his house for 3 months, or that he's going to be contained in jail for like a year, and his bail costs, for example, let's say 3 or 2 million hryvnias. 2 million hryvnias is, let me count, is like a, well, let's say 4 million hryvnias. So $10,000. So it's like 20% of the money he stole. So it is easy for him to like pay his way out, to pay his bail, and be out and the freedom again. And actually, people they try to like put some light on these cases because the judges, of course, are being corrupt as well. And well, the amount of these cases is enormous right now because it's not that it wasn't like it wasn't here before. It was always present, but just before the war, before we started to shape as a society, as a country, it was all covered. It was like muddy waters. It wasn't clear, and now it just could be seen. We can see that they are doing this like really dirty, corrupt schemes, and people steal money, go into jail like for a really small period of time, pay their bails, go out and do this shit over and over again. So it's like a systematic problem. Soviet legacy, I've mentioned it a lot of times already. So we are, as a society, we are working really hard to like choke these things, but a lot of work should be done, unfortunately.
Mhm. Well, I think the last thing I read is that Sierski had been removed. Is that correct?
Yes, yes.
Is there any optimism around the new person who was appointed to fill that position?
Yes, because the new person, it's general. His surname is Drapati. That is a very funny surname for Russians, but the thing is that this guy, he was in the crew of not the tank, but that. Nah, I need to translate it. I'm sorry. It's getting harder for me to find words. I guess I'm getting tired.
It's okay. You're speaking in a second language.
Okay, so the right name it is armored personnel carrier. So it's like the armored vehicle that is used to transport infantry troops.
Huh.
Um, he was like in the crew of the troop that got into Mariupol in 2014. So he was among the people who prevented Russia to spreading their influence in 2014. He's responsible for our right now. Mariupol has already been occupied since 2022, but since 2014 he prevented the occupation, and he is one of the most cherished and successful generals according to the opinion of our warriors. So the person that replaced General Syrski is actually the best possible option for us right now. And it is not my thought as a civilian, that is the thought of different respected warriors. So people who are directly related to military operations. So he's very experienced, he's very tactical, and he is very how do I say? He tries to save as many lives as possible. So he really values and
Conserving his units.
yes,
That's very good.
thank you.
I would much rather fight for him than someone who expends their units. I'll tell you.
Well, General Syrski that was replaced. He has this like slang or like name among warriors. He's a butcher, so he used old Soviet methods. And as we have agreed a long time ago, small Soviet army cannot defeat the big small Soviet army. So.
Mm-hmm. And if I remember correctly, Syrski replaced Zaluzhny. Is that right?
Yes, it was very political as well. And we believe that actually the same thing that happened to Fedorov right now happened to Zaluzhny, because Zaluzhny was very popular among Ukrainians. And if it came to next elections, it was almost like very obvious for people that Zaluzhny would be the next president. And Zelensky felt that that is not appropriate for him, and he decided to like step in.
Mm-hmm. So I've noticed there's a real running theme here, sort of between
yes,
reformers and residual Soviet influence in Ukrainian political culture and institutions.
yes, you are correct. Unfortunately, that's what happens. People like, well, they understand that we have to fight war, etc., etc. But in the meantime, they are actively trying to prepare for next elections. So, and it's actually being felt a lot by people because sometimes they go over the line with all this political stuff, and they start to like create different like news events, or how do I say these scandals. They try to like undisclose some really troubling truths about different persons, different people, and it's really just it's an inappropriate time, and it's like the basic political like dirty race, but it shouldn't happen like when they were in the active phase. Just as with Polish people and all the dispute, it should wait for some kind of peace at least.
Mm-hmm. Well, are you still doing okay on time, or?
Maybe a couple questions here, and I will head to my work.
Okay. So when I originally wrote this question, there was talk about a pending North Korean deployment. So I'll kind of rephrase the question. What was the feeling amongst Ukrainians when they were actually fighting soldiers from the North Korean army?
Well, it happened in 2023, I guess,
Hmm.
the first time when we did this Kursk operation. That it actually was Sersky's idea. It is very controversial. Now people are still arguing whether should we like invade the like real Russian territories like Kursk region or not. It was intended like to be used as a trade card during the negotiation, but it just happened that Russians gathered some forces, involved some North Koreans, and was able to just defend themselves and push us out of Russian territory. And it resulted in a big amount of casualties, and really experienced soldiers have died, unfortunately. Because, of course, if you have an offensive operations, you try to use your best troops, your best forces.
Hmm.
And it feels like a real waste right now because, according to Zaluzhny was really against it. He didn't want to do it. He was trying to preserve as many lives as possible, and he was all about defense, which is like really a common view on it as a Fedorov has right now. So we should like focus on defense, not on offensive operations. But Sersky, got different. Zaluzhny was replaced, Sersky got in charge, and I guess 3 months after that, the Kursk operation happened. So yeah, about North Koreans, of course, this is shit. Well, as I have said, Russians they tend to use every tool they have. Of course, it's a war, especially well now they actually have to fight for their existence as well. Well, I mean, not like the whole Russia existence, but the existence of those who sit in Kremlin, because defeat for them is equal to death. Uh, History remembers a lot of events when um Russian rulers wasn't really successful with their wars, and after defeats, they were replaced really fast. So I believe that uh, people in Kremlin are very aware of that, and they will do everything in their power to not lose. Uh, so yeah, um, it didn't feel really nice, especially with the fact that we do not have access to foreign troops. We only have this international legion that is really small right now. And of course, people who came from different countries, they could fight voluntarily on our side as a part of international legion. Of course, we try to do everything that is possible in our power, but I guess in this relation, uh, uh, the fact that one dictator reaches to another, I mean the North Korean one, reaches for help is pretty much expected. Well, in my opinion, in this regard, authoritarianism works a lot better than democracy because they don't have to gather like different ministers, councils, etc. They don't have to vote for something. So, like while people in high cabinets somewhere in Europe, they still argue and frown and think what to do best to protect themselves and help us, etc., etc. It takes only two people to like when you are dictators, when you have authoritarian regimes in your countries, it takes only two people to converse and decide something. Like it takes only one phone call. Putin calls him, give me give me some people. Okay, no problem, brother. That's it. Uh, So even it's not popular among people, like who fucking cares? They are just being ordered to like go into Russia and fight from on the Russian side. That's it. Of course, both Kim Jong Un. That is the right pronunciation of in English.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yep.
Okay. And Putin, of course, they have immense power in their countries, which they rule for decades. So I think it is a lot more effective in relation to war. No, at least in terms of speed of accepting and making some decisions. So it's not a secret, and I don't know if you were aware of it, but we have information from our intelligence that they are going to invite some troops from North Korea again.
Really?
Like, yes, uh, I don't know if that's like actually true, but that was information from Zelensky. He said it like 2 or 3 days ago in his interview. No, not interview, but he makes this kind of small podcast in the evening. So he covers news every now and then. He makes this small talking videos for like 4 or 5 minutes and like describes something, some events. That is actually a good side of Zelensky, that he was a former media person, so he knows his way around spreading information, his way around like creating different information pieces, etc. So yeah, again, as I've said, in this regard, he's doing a really good job. But in regard of like being a good president for his own country, inside of it, I guess it's more like a well, he doesn't have an immense attention span. He cannot see everything.
Hmm.
Maybe problem is in this. So he's focused on foreign policies. He's focused on like negotiating with, for example, President Trump. Uh, yeah, maybe like we of course we don't know the whole picture, but it seems like it at least.
Gotcha. I was going to skip the question on the economy because I think you've kind of already talked about that a bit. I'm resisting the temptation to talk about history, even though I really want to.
Yeah,
We've
let's
touched on it.
about history. I'd like to postpone that maybe for some other time. I would
Yeah.
gladly speak to you about it. Uh, you wanted to ask something about the Russophiles. Uh,
Oh, yeah, we covered that earlier. Yeah, we were
I
talking
just
about.
wanted to like, yes, just overall perception of Russia among Ukrainians, but about people who are like want to support Russia but being in Ukraine. Of course, if you do something in relation to war, in relation to military operations, for example, you will try to take take a couple of sneaky photos of some military object. You will be caught and you will be punished and you will be sentenced for life. So that is like the, how is it translated? Let me translate it.
The price of treason?
Yes, that is a treason. Uh, of course, these things are not tolerated, and if you cause some concern, or like you want to be asked some questions uh, by the police, for example, they can look through your phone and browse through your photographs and see whether you took pictures or not. And yeah, so uh, to maybe speak speak something more about overall drastic change from like being one country with Russia and then separating completely from it. Russian propaganda claimed that we prohibit people to speak Russian and attack Russian-speaking people. That like was before, even before 2022. It was after 2014. So the whole like campaign of demonizing Ukrainians started in Russia. So they claim that we are preventing people from speaking Russian, banning, etc. But at the same time, even after 2014, we had like 80% of TV programs in Russian. Well, before 2014 in school, I had the same amount of Ukrainian language lessons per week and as Ukrainian language. The same goes for Ukrainian and Russian literature. So I was learning Ukrainian as far as I was learning Russian in my school. So that was like I guess the post-Soviet thing, but that was like what people were taught in schools. Well, in this regard, we can like say that half of country was like Russophile. But of course, now it is dangerous to be an open Russophile. Of course, people are speaking Russian openly. I speak Russian myself because, yeah, as I have mentioned, I'm from the region that was completely Russian speaking from Donbass, and I speak Russian with my parents, with my wife. I think in Russian, unfortunately, but yeah, that's just how it goes. But now, with all these events, as I've said, people speak Russian openly, but not on official level, of course. All the documents, official communication, like classes, it's only allowed to be in Ukrainian or English where it's possible. For example, I had English classes at my university, so that was really good of my teachers to try to hold lessons in English. Also, it's prohibited to listen to Russian music out loud in the street. It is frowned upon. Yeah, you won't be like directly arrested, but you can be asked some questions by other citizens, like what do you think you're doing, etc. And it's prohibited, like on official level, it's prohibited to use Russian in the service sector. So the waiter in the restaurant, they cannot speak to you in Russian. So if you speak Russian to someone you don't know, it may be shunned. So like people overall tend to use Ukrainian when speaking to unknown people, and only switch to Russian if it's convenient for the other person, for example. So yeah, like basic rule in Ukraine that you try to speak Ukrainian, but if you want to be polite, I do that every time. If I'm being asked a question in Russian, I answer in Russian. Like I don't think that's actually a big deal, but some people they take it very seriously and connect language to the history. And overall, like Russian is used by our occupants. They kill us. How can you speak Russian, etc., etc. So, and also people who have never spoken Ukrainian, they find it really hard to switch from Russian right away. But people even value their efforts. So we have this like name for the mixed language that is a mixture of Russian and Ukrainian. It's called Survik. It's like a rural language that is used by rural people, and it actually like it's better to speak in mutilated like this mixture of languages than the pure Russian, because pure Russian, especially with Russian accent, they use this letter G, like soft G, because in Ukrainian we have letter H, and the Russians have G. Like it's similar to English G, but with their accent, with the way they put stresses in different parts of the words, it's really like it hurts ears for people to speak like real Russian, not just language, but with pronunciation, with all the sounds that they speak. So yeah. So even the effort of not speaking Russian matters as well. So as I've said, right now I am completely bilingual, so I can switch back and forth between Russian and Ukrainian and use the language the person speaks to me just to be polite. And now, as you can hear, actively working on my English as well, so it would be awesome to be a three-lingual person and switch back and forth between three languages.
Well, you're fluent in English because you're holding a conversation on foreign policy and war. That's a very advanced topic. You're not just trying to find the bathroom or order food. How mutually intelligible are Russian and Ukrainian? Like, if you're someone who's just Russian and you don't know Ukrainian, if a Ukrainian walks up to you and speaks Ukrainian, can they understand it?
Well, very vaguely, I'd say, because we have some words that were propositioned from Polish language. We have some French words, etc. Our language is more like related or more close to Polish and Belarusian language. Russian is completely different. So, like when a person speaks Russian to you and you as Ukrainian, of course, you know two languages, that is no problem. We have no trouble understanding Belarusian people as well. So Belarusian language is unique in their own way, but we still have a lot of common words. So like you understand like 95% of it. Russians, they find it hard to understand any language beside Russian. Well, as far as I'm concerned, because we have a lot of words that sound really similar to Russian ones, but they mean a completely different thing. I guess overall, if you like, as a person who has no ill intent but only knows Russian language and no Ukrainian, you will do just fine in Ukraine. With some training, with some letter replacements. For example, we have letter E, which is looks just like letter I in English, and Russian people do not have that letter. So if you like bear in your mind that E is Russian E, it's easy for you to switch. That goes the same with the Cyrillic, for example, letter V, because the same spelling for it is letter B in English. So when you like practice it, it gets really easier.
I see. Thank you.
Well, if you have time for another question, I was going to ask about refugees. Obviously, this is kind of unknowable, but in general, how many Ukrainian refugees are expected to come back home once the war is over?
That's a really tough question. Well, for the fact I know that we have about 24 million people left in Ukraine. So before the 2022, it was like 40 something or like 38, I guess. So yeah, roughly half of the population moved away. And we have this, of course, it's obvious that we have this very active internal moving of people because they are moving from the east to the center of Ukraine to the west, just because they are being forced by military actions, by the war itself. So it doesn't feel like we have less people in Kiev or less people in other countries. It just overall the country actively like that parts of country that allow people to live quote unquote normal life, it just became smaller, and a lot of people from western regions fled as well. So For some people, it was just an opportunity to leave, like, because for a really big amount of time, having a Ukrainian passport in Ukrainian ID in Europe could like open a lot of doors for you. Even though you are not a real war refugee that fled, for example, like some city from Donbass, if you flee some western city that is completely safe, for example, Lviv, still the main thing was that like you're Ukrainian, so you are able to uh, get some money from government as a refugee, etc., etc. So some people used this fact to their advantage. And in terms of coming back, I know that a lot of people don't see a future here anymore. So if they're managed to like uh, grow some roots in other country, I guess it's very unlikely that they will come back. And some people go abroad and they just come back right now. So they understand that other country is not for them. They cannot live far from home, and active war doesn't prevent them from coming home right now. So maybe like 5 to 7 million people could return, but that is very unlikely. And the overall demographic situation is really dire right now because according to the statistics, we have like in overall Ukraine, we have ratio of how it's called in English, mortality rate. So like the ratio between the death and newborn like babies.
Actually, I'm not sure what the name of that ratio would be.
Okay, so you get the idea. We have so for one newborn, 4 people dies. So the ratio is 1 to 4, and that is like crazy bad for the country and for the economics for the future. Of course, that is connected with the fact that people are not. That is actually my case. I'm not like having a baby right now with my wife because it is dangerous. So we are postponing this as far as we can. Just because like different health issues, you cannot have a pregnant woman not sleeping at night, hiding in shelters, hearing all the explosions, etc. It's not a healthy
environment.
women organism to bear the baby. And of course, mortality rate is risen as well, just because of different casualties. And so not just people die, not from old age, but they die from different attacks. A lot of elder people die because of heart attacks because they just cannot survive through stress when they hear explosions. So yeah, that's a sad reality of Ukrainians right now. But we believe if the war ends, well, not if, when the war ends, it should end sooner or later. Maybe people will return and there will be some kind of like a Marshall Plan for Germany after World War II. So different foreign businesses will come here and will thrive because like the land, the soil here is very fruitful. It is known like worldwide. So you can poke a stick to the ground and it will bloom in a couple of months. Maybe the future is not so grim, but we'll see.
The breadbasket of Europe.
I guess I have to move now, guys. It's 10 a.m. for me.
Bit of sugar, thank you so
I
much for your
will-
time. Massive of you to come on.
Yeah, thank you guys for sharing my story, for hearing my opinions. It was a real, well, I said it was real blasphemy, but now the word blast is like green,
Yeah, fair.
has a green context. So yeah, I had a really good time. It was a great practice for me. Please invite me more. I'm happy to join and to discuss something. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Twitch chat. See you around, guys. Much love. Stay safe, and let's hope that we'll be able to communicate more and more and more.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
GG. Nice. Clap.
Very cool.
Oh, replacement
amazing.
rate. That may have been the word we were looking for.
Oh, is that what it was? Replacement rate?
Yeah.
Good stuff. Primary source.
Yeah. No, it's a great privilege and opportunity for us here in World Discussion to host him, because to me, this feels like the realest kind of journalism you can do, where you're a person, you go talk to someone who's actively been there, so it's a first-hand account. It's really awesome.
Yeah, I just apologize for not doing better. I don't really know how to interview people, so that was just my best effort.
I thought you did just fine.
Well, thank you. I'd say you did the heavy lifting. You're very good at being conversational and engaging with people.
Yeah, but I don't read the news like you do, so the questions that you had for him, I never would have thought to ask, so you brought good value. Nice work, Agent Smith. Sorry for not reading the chat. No, it's probably better that you didn't. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad, but sometimes if you do look over at it, it kind of veers in a direction that can derail your momentum. So, yeah, it's good to be focused. And that's I think a broader life recommendation I would give people is some of the best conversations that you can have are going to be face to face, or at least just you're in voice with someone where it's you and their perspective and you're not dealing with a mob at the same time. We have a nice chat here. Of the chats on Twitch where you could have this conversation, it went relatively well. So round of applause, chat. Good job not shitting the bed. Well done. War is a spicy topic. And then just another point of, I guess, compassion for Ukrainian people going through war. And then for me as a host who, Bitter Sugar's a friend of mine. He's someone I know. He's someone who we've played games with. We've kind of built memories outside of the conflict. To have him going through this stuff, it makes me feel a little bit defensive when chat will sometimes be apologetic toward people who are making Ukraine's situation worse. And this is like a human emotion, right? There's history that's colored with corruption and difficulty, blah, blah, blah. We talked about the Polish stuff earlier, but Bitter Sugar wasn't alive during that shit, fam. So you can only get so upset about the sins of our ancestors, right? All of our ancestors have done some bad stuff. He's actively getting shot at right now. So to be like, well, did the Ukrainians do this stuff back in the past? It's like, now's not the time. Bitter Sugar wasn't alive then. He shouldn't really be like given all this crap for stuff that happened in the past. So I'm a little bit defensive of him. Is it true that there are two sides to every story? Sure, fine, whatever. But I have some compassion for him. And I will say one of the times that I've gotten the most upset with someone in chat was at the start of the war, where they were saying, well, what if Russia's justified in doing this? I just lost it because it doesn't make sense to send tanks at your kin. And that's what Bitter Sugar was talking about tonight, which is it felt like a stab in the back rather than something that was impending or inevitable. Like Ukrainians, they browse Russian media, they listen to Russian music. It's part of their sphere. They study it in university. Russian is definitely an academic language that has a lot of stuff you can read in the primary source. So it's valuable to learn that. But to have your country attacked, that's fucked up. And if we can at least start with that foundation of we agree that the context of this war is fucked up. Even FIFA, one of the most corrupt organizations in the world, recognizes that Russia's in the wrong here. So that's kind of the starting stance here. And yes, I'm a human and every human has bias and Western media has a bias. We can go through all of that stuff, but yeah, try to be nice, try to be compassionate of people going through more difficult times than you. Like when we were looking at those videos of his apartment, it's rubble, it's ash. He's holding up the hard drive, it's melted and bent. There's no way to even recover the information that's on it. So these people are losing everything. Oftentimes they're losing all of their possessions, and he's able to joke about it and be like, hey, it was the easiest move of my life because he couldn't move anything, it's all destroyed. That's so fucked up. So for us to, I don't know, you should be careful about how critical and condescending you are of people going through wartime. And these decisions of going to war, they're not made by us regular folks in Twitch chat. They're made by despotic egomaniacs who have way too much power and they fall to the dark side. So whether you're Russian in chat, whether you're Ukrainian in chat, whether you're Polish or from whatever the fuck country, we are human beings of this earth. We are citizens of respective nations, but we were dealt these cards. We were dealt these spawn locations in the world, and it's much better for us to try to figure out how we can cooperate. Because this is the real stupid aspect of Putin's move to invade, is he was already really close to getting an influence victory with Ukraine. Like, Russia was the big brother of Ukraine, their family basically, so all he needed to do was fucking invest. Like, do some business, do some projects, like get that like Russian name really strong and really good in Ukraine so you can get influence of them the nice way instead of the mean way. So yes, I'm not afraid to say I'm fully against Russia invading Ukraine. There's a clear good guy, bad guy delineation here. Are there victims on both sides? Yes. The Russian men who are conscripted into war and die. That's unfortunate. That's not fair to them. So there's bad stuff on that side as well. And a lot of people who work in Russia, they're not able to get money from other countries now. Like, I know some people who they're Russian and I'm not able to support them anymore. Like, the person who did the brunt art is based in Russia. So I wasn't able to continue to kind of get commissions and stuff because of the war happening. So it's a big fucking mess. Thank you all for trying your best to talk about this in an even-handed manner. I know it's hard to do so a lot of times because much of the media that we get is really supercharged with some kind of agenda. But yeah, we're trying our best and we hope for a swift and peaceful conclusion to all of this mess. I don't know what that would look like, but it seems like based on what he's saying and the stance of Ukraine, they're not even considering like coming to the table and giving up, which is cool. That's a lot of courage and heart that they're showing and continuing to stick it out. It's definitely a big surprise to the world from what we expected. When the invasion first happened, we're like, oh shit, they're just going to snatch Kyiv and turn Ukraine into a puppet state. But they rallied and they're still on the defense, still holding strong. So credit to Ukraine there and holding a really strong defensive stance.
Yep. Very courageous people.
Yep.
I'm sorely tempted to get into the interwars years in Eastern Europe. Since we were talking about Poland, that's a very interesting period of history, but it might be better to save that for a later discussion, because I'm sure Bitter Sugar would have some very interesting things to say about it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It seemed like a lot of the questions, the chat was left hanging a little bit in that there was a really important historical deep dive you could do regarding some of those questions to give context that we just didn't have time for because he was on a timer go to work. And we've actually filled the full 3 hours just talking with him pretty much. So, yeah, there's definitely more to dig into there that I would be curious to hear about as well. So whatever you want to research leading up to that, I'm down. And we can figure out another time to have him on too.
Yeah. He's looking forward to it.
I gotta say, I love the attitude. you don't sound defeated. You sound like you've calmly accepted a storm around you, and you just take the storm as your new status quo. You're not coming across as whiny, which is impressive because I have Dota teammates who whine over minor virtual infractions. And here you are with all of your shit destroyed, and you're like, it was an easy move at least. Like, the ability to insert humor there is very impressive because I've not been in such a situation, so it's cool to see someone be so resilient. So thank you for setting a good example and being a good role model for people. Appreciate that.
Yeah, very respectable. I could learn a thing or two.
I can't complain, but you could complain. Well, cool. Well, no pressure, but if anyone wants to help Bitter Sugar rebuild, I believe he has a PayPal that you could send him some coins to if you wanted to. But this wasn't meant to be a fundraising thing, but that's a door that is open to anyone who feels so motivated, either through Twitch or YouTube. We can get you in contact to help him out.
Where is that?
I can message you, but he has a PayPal where he could be supported.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Well, cool. Was there anything else we wanted to get to?
Only pretty neatly filled time for an episode. I don't know if there was anything like really big that happened this week that you wanted to touch on, but we don't have to. We could just call it.
Okay, well, I guess we'll just do it next time, but I'll just throw in that there was some Iran stuff. Specifically, the Trump administration announced a deal with the Saudis that would involve them being able to enrich uranium, which kind of came out of left field. That's certainly a bold proposition. We can kind of get into that next time. And then also the ceasefire has resumed between the United States and Iran as of Friday. So the fighting has actually stopped again.
Is the Strait of Hormuz open?
No.
Okay. it's changing with the winds.
Yeah. So just throwing that out there, casual Iran update. But other than that, no, I didn't really have any other big items.
Gotcha. Well, there continues to be little bits and pieces of information about the Argentina drama in the World Cup. That was one of those fun kind of global gatherings where every country gets to represent themselves. They got a soccer team, they play some American soccer, but the FIFA organization is pretty corrupt. It looked like in favor of Argentina, but Argentina was very misbehaved at the end. After they lost, they had some players assaulting the Spanish players, which is incredibly unsportsmanlike and immature, but that happened. So yeah, it's been interesting to see how the shift went from the world adoring Argentina and hoping for a really good World Cup for Messi to them being just the straight up villains throughout the whole thing, where it's like, okay, they're clearly getting advantages that other countries are not, and the refs are always ruling in their favor, and they're not even that technically good at soccer from how they're playing against the other teams. So yeah, that was a interesting sequence of events. And it's fun to also kind of give some light to countries that you never think about. Like one of the cool standouts from the whole tournament was Cape Verde. I'd never fucking heard of Cape Verde, but they're rather good.
Yeah, they don't make the news too much. I'm kind of curious what Dagnep has to say about Argentina's World Cup experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw him in chat today. We should ask him. I'd be curious. I found a renewed love and fascination for Norway and my heritage there. They did a good job kind of branding and celebrating together and doing their Viking row and so on. So there's been relatively more discourse about a relatively small country that doesn't normally get attention. Dagnip is here. He said, it's intense. He doesn't care that much about the cup, but his countrymen do a lot.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Is it like, is it in the media all the time? Are they still talking about it? Or is it kind of passed by now?
I would assume that there's, I would say broadly, a roast of the players just for maybe underperforming, because they were expected to be one of the strongest teams. And the commentators were saying that a lot of Argentina's games were really, they were won in an ugly manner that didn't make them look like clearly the best team. It looked like the team that slightly eked out the win from a few questionable calls. So I guess the people would probably be mad at them for that. Like Korea roasted their players when they got back home. But then on top of that, the corruption allegations, I don't know if there would be any investigation about that. Yeah, he's saying they talked about it a lot in the news.
Yeah. Is it mostly homogenous? Is the opinion of the public in Argentina mostly homogenous, or is there an actual debate about the corruption allegations? I've only heard the outsider perspective. Everybody's kind of hating on Argentina, but I don't really know what people in the country actually think about all of it.
Can't believe I saw Falkland Islands reference from it. I learned that from World Discussion. If not for World Discussion, I wouldn't even know what the Falkland Islands are. But that was a thing in the past that apparently people still care about.
Oh, fuck yeah. I'm not going to stop caring about it either.
Nope. You told me, too, with a lot of the uninhabited islands in the Pacific, there's a lot of mini games between like China and Japan and Korea and stuff of saying like, that's our island, when it's like a rock with a palm tree or some shit. But those islands matter a lot. When people look at the map, it seems like world leaders and nationalists, they really like their presence on the map to be large. And any expansion is good and any recession is bad. Well, cool. Very excellent and special session. What's so funny?
Dagnit. Yeah, in Argentina, they don't actually call them the Falkland Islands. They call them the Malvinas Islands.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a big thing over there.
You're kind of surprised that people seem to hate Argentina so much. We know FIFA is really corrupt. We don't approve. Oh, to clarify, no one hates Argentinian people in general. It's the route that the team got that people are angry about. So you're in the clear, Dagnip. We see you as a good character on the board.
Something tells me that that nuance is going to be lost on Argentine nationalists.
Yeah, I could see that. Well, very good. If Bitter Sugar wants, I could put some like support info in the YouTube description. I think that's something we could do if you wanted to, but no pressure. Thank you so much for sharing your story and sharing like what happened to you, the videos that you took. That was effort. So thank you so much for doing that. Thank you, Agent Smith, for getting some questions for him to keep that conversation going. And thank you, Chad, as well, for participating.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to. That really is a treat.
Absolutely. Get you some real fucking journalism. Let's go. Oh, cool. Well, thank you all. We'll see you on the next episode of World Discussion with Agent Smith. Smith.
Thanks again. Always a privilege. Talk to you next time.
GG.